Well, can you hear me? Some friendly faces in the crowd and no heckling. Okay, no heckling. Okay, so good afternoon, as you've heard. Thank you very much, Elaine. My name's Joanne, and my role in Farrans is to support the business with people and engagement. So I'm standing in front of you this afternoon, not because I am any more wise in terms of inclusion and diversity than you are. I'm just here because as an employee of Farrans, we knew that we had to do something differently. That's it. So through the next 25 minutes, what I'm hoping to do is to share with you some of the challenges and questions that we're trying to get our head around. Some things that have worked well from us, and things that we have learnt have been a total disaster. So we are seeing some green shoots, definitely we are, but it's fair to say that we are only at the very start of trying to change the culture within our business. We're not quite sure where it's going to take us, but we're going to try. And for us, it's about taking a small positive step every day. So if this works, I'm going to start by showing you a little quick video, about 2 minutes. This video was commissioned by a Danish TV company and it went viral, so I'm quite sure people in the room will have seen this before. But they just bring teams of people together and then you'll see the moderator starting to ask a number of questions, and I'm going to shut up, sit down and let you see what happens. Okay, so today, and spending the next few minutes with you guys, is all about diversity of thinking. To challenge ourselves, to think differently, to open our minds, to learn something, because when we start to do that, that's when we can really make the change. So why does it all matter? Today we're here and obviously we're talking about gender. It's front and forward and it's in our minds, and bringing more women into the construction industry is absolutely the right thing to do. But creating an inclusive environment and getting that diversity is regardless of gender, regardless of age, regardless of disability, sexuality, ethnic background. It's about bringing the best people into our industry. And today's society, as human beings, we have more choices to make every day than we've ever had. And we make those choices on many more informed decisions. So now when you're looking at companies, whether you're young or old, whether you're a returner, whether you're coming up through university, you're starting to say, why should I join the construction industry? What's in it for me? Can I see myself in there? Is there someone that looks like me, sounds like me, has the same values as me in that organisation? Can I really see myself there? Those are the types of questions that people are asking themselves. And if we're going to attract the right people and keep those people within our organisations, we have to create the right environment. Environment where people feel respected, where they feel valued, an environment where they can be their unique self, whatever that looks like, an environment where that is inclusive to all. And we've heard this morning in lots of different of the presenters about the strong business case. These are the stats from the Deloitte paper, and I think one of the earlier speakers when we were downstairs spoke about, if you haven't read the Deloitte paper, get it. Get the Deloitte paper, 8 pages, back and front, really easy. But remember, I think it wasn't 100 organisations, or was it 1,000 organisations across the globe? They did all of the work on them, and this is the stats that came out. So never mind that it's the right thing to do. This is about making money. Inclusion and diversity, and in creating those environments to attract the best people into your organisation, it's about better business outcomes. So, Farrans, And I'm going to be very candid with you and hope that you take that in the way that I hope you do. And as I say, don't blame us, but we're on this path, and we've got a few scars and bumps and bruises along the way, and I'm going to share some of that with you. We decided that we would start by understanding the baseline, get the facts. We're engineers after all. High blue. We wanted to get the facts. But we also wanted to get the facts because we know that if you don't have the facts, you have a void. And as human nature, what do we do with that void? We stick our own personal perceptions, our conscious bias and our unconscious bias into that void. The organisations like this, there are not enough women here, there are not enough people who can talk about their sexuality. This place is a mess. Let's start to know what we don't know. So some facts we kind of knew would be coming through in terms of the stats. We weren't surprised. We're a construction company based in Northern Ireland. Look around the room. 95% white, that's Northern Ireland. 75% male. Now, the percentage here is slightly higher than what you've seen down below, and that's because this is representation of those people who completed the survey. Okay, 64% of our employees completed the survey, which is quite high in terms of an employee survey. So 75% that completed the survey said they were male, 95% white. 94% work full-time, and over half are under age 35. So now we're starting to ask ourselves different types of questions. What if we could offer flexible working, agile working, as Joe said earlier? What might that do for the people that already work with us or the people that might want to come and join us? And what we're doing for our over 50% of the population that work for us that are under 35, do they want the same things in their career as our folks who've been there a bit greyer hair and a lot longer? Wow. We were a wee bit shocked when we saw that. We knew mental health was an issue. Of course, we work in construction, we understand that. To see that stat up there, though, made us stop and pause. What are we doing for the individuals? So that's 35% of the people that completed the survey said that they are living with a mental health illness. How do they feel every day? What are we doing to ensure that they feel included, that it's okay to talk about it, that we've got the right skills coming through the organisation to help both the person that is in that crisis moment or just trying to get through day by day? What are we doing for our managers? What are we doing for our senior leaders? But I guess it's when you get down into these stats and you look at 5% of the people completing the survey said that they had a disability, and only 2% could tick that box that said, I'm a member of the LGBTQ plus community. So how does that reflect society? And why would you join Farrans or any other organisation if you can't see any role models that look and sound and feel like you? 3 more stats and then we'll move on. But I thought it was important to just share these with you. 78% that completed the survey said diversity is important to us. Yay! Great, delighted. And 64% believe we already hire from a diverse background. Check out the stats up at the top. We already hire from a diverse background. At this point in time, probably 70% of our work's across in GB. So think about the demographics there. This one's scary. 50% of the people who completed the survey think we do not need to do anything more and become more diverse. So guess what? When we went and got the facts, I think we've more work to do about really understanding what inclusion and diversity means for us in our organisation. It also challenges our thinking about where we sit within our local communities as well. So, mistakes along the way. This feels like, oh, I'm getting so much off my chest. Watch out for the rabbit holes. You can do lots of good things, but they don't always, I suppose, bring you to the success, bring you to the point that you really want to be there. But it's okay. In engineering terms, that we make mistakes, we learn from them, and then we grow, so that's okay. Mistakes are good. Assuming the root cause is an I&D issue. Gender, women in construction, we'll fix it. I know what we'll do. We'll do all of the STEM activities. We'll get out into schools, we'll get out into colleges, we'll get out into universities, we'll spread the word. Construction, women, we are open for business, come to us. Absolutely fantastic, absolutely the right thing to do. And it's not the only thing. When we actually asked our females, we brought that 25% together April last year in the room next door, and we said to them, what is it that makes you want to stay with Farrans? Or what is it that makes you want to stay within the industry? Or what is it that would make just this a better place to work? Guess what they told us? Flexible working. Trying to remember them. Better enhanced maternity. We were on statutory. Okay. Career progression. Clear career progression where I can see where I am going. Give me training when I need it. And personal development. So in fact, nothing other than the maternity, but they did talk to us about paternity. Nothing to do with gender and everything to do with making it a better place to work, regardless of whether you're a woman, a man, what ethnic background you had, whether you were gay. None of that mattered. It was doing the right thing for people. Going for the easy fix. We set up a Women Together network. Great. It is really important to have community hubs within your organisations, and that does help to lead to a more inclusive and diverse workforce. It certainly does. But it also means that you must include everybody. Just because you have community hubs, those community hubs must be open to everybody to join in. Otherwise, you end up just down a rabbit hole with people looking over your shoulder saying, why them? Setting expectations too high. We did our survey, EDI survey, out to every employee, 70 to 80 questions in the survey. We then set up our Women Together network. Great. And immediately our employees said, we expect to see step change. They expected the change to happen really, really quickly. And guess what? Change is hard. Change requires resource, whether that's money, people to drive it, and change requires really careful planning. And that brings me to the next point, moving forward with top-down buy-in. So when do you think you have buy-in? Do you think you have buy-in when you've presented the business case to the senior leaders and they say, yep, that's really good, that's absolutely the right thing to be working on? Do you think you've got buy-in when you get approval to go and ask the employees for feedback around what they think on diversity and inclusion? Do you think you've got buy-in when you've 50% of the board saying, yes, we must put together a diversity and inclusion strategy? You only have buy-in when the most senior leader in your organisation takes personal action and holds the people in their team accountable. Because see, up until that point, it's just another initiative. And Finally, focusing on representation and not pipeline, and it's a bit like going for the easy fix. When you set up your community hubs, as I said, that's absolutely fine and dandy, and yes, you should definitely do that. But there is, I suppose, a jarring that comes with it, because other people then immediately say, what about me? And an interesting little fact that I came across was that in the period 2014 to 2017, the chatter on social media around inclusion and diversity has doubled. But the negative tweets has tripled in the same period. So you just need to be mindful that with the greatest, we think we're doing all the right stuff, but sometimes you just need to stop and think. So we're now starting to realise to create an inclusive and diverse culture within our organisation, it's about putting in good people practices. It's about starting to build those building blocks, pardon the pun, and sweating the small stuff, getting the things right. And you'll be glad to know I'm not going to talk through all these. So I'm just going to pick a couple and give you some examples of what we've tried to do and where we start to see those green shoots as a result of some of this work. So attracting the right people into your organisation is important, but where we've had biggest impact is assessment centres for key roles. And that's whether you're an external or whether you're internal. So for the first time, we brought together really robust assessment centres, competency-based interviews, presentations, case studies, even psychometric tests. And that immediately blew the doors off, and we walked into this new space where historically it would have been, you've served your time, you've served the company well, it's your turn. And now people could see that if you had the right skills, the right experience, you had the technical capability, you had the right behaviours, then you could get the role that you wanted to. And that was as important for attracting people into our organisation as it was for those internally. In terms of developing people when they are with us then, we started a number of years back and we brought in a robust performance management system. And you think, yeah, most big companies have it. We didn't. And to have clear objectives so I know what's expected of me and I know what good looks like, not just in terms of the objectives, but also in the behaviours, how I'm expected to behave, that was really, really important. We've developed a career toolkit. We've basically mapped out, here's the technical capabilities, and here's the behavioural competencies for a particular role for all of the roles within the organisation. So the first time a graduate or a design manager or a managing quantity surveyor can go, okay, where am I sitting with the organisation? Where can I move sideways or where can I move up? And I know what's expected in each of those roles. So people are able to start to talk about their careers. And we've then complemented that with a development framework that looks and ensures that you have the right technical experience and you get that training, along with the personal development. And that's from graduate level right the way up to senior leaders and directors. In terms of then keeping people in our business, we've tried really hard at this one to really listen. We listened in through the survey, we listened through the Women Together, we listened to the backlash of establishing the Women Together, and we've started to change our HR policies, review those HR policies and change them. So you heard me say we now have an enhanced maternity policy and pay, we have family-friendly policy, you heard Ray talk about it earlier. Really important, that. But we also, through the development programs, have helped and upskilled our managers to have the right types of conversations. And those are the conversations that recognise really good performance, but also tackle poor performance, because that's equally as important. So we're now getting those building blocks in place that attract the best people, develop the best people, and retain them. We've also reached out to others, and that's what today's about. We have attended lots of events like this and just sat where you are, listening, taking that in, being that sponge. And I suppose something that's made us relax a little bit more is something that all of the experts have said. You don't need an I&D expert in your organisation in order to make the change. You don't need it. You have it within you to make the change within your business. We've become members of Stonewall, and I heard that another few organisations have also done that. We only did it in the last 6 months, but the amount that we have learnt from talking to the other organisations that we've met through Stonewall, nothing to do with construction, NI Civil Service, the PSNI, Citigroup, Baker McKenzie, just some of the ones that come to mind, who will sit there, talk to you through the coffee breaks at the front of the room and say, here's what's worked well for us and here's what didn't. And then from then you can build from that. They all say, start small. Don't try to do big bang. Don't try to get a 10-page strategy document together. Start off with 2 or 3 small things and build from there. The other good advice that we got along the way was, don't think that just because you're the person that happened to be sitting in the seat when they said, can you be the catalyst for our inclusion and diversity strategy in the organisation? It's not your responsibility. It lands on HR, it sometimes lands on the person that looks after communication and marketing, it sometimes lands on the person who usually gets things done around here. It doesn't have to just be you. Ask for help and get other people involved. When you start to talk about this subject matter to everybody in the tea break room, wherever people will say, do you know what, I wouldn't mind getting involved in that. And once you ask for help, then take that help. And finally, something that I hadn't really considered, but particularly with our friends in Stonewall and some of the examples that they've given us, is that this world isn't black and white. I know, and particularly in Northern Ireland, we can be quite traditional in our viewpoint, and we can think it's black, it's white, I'm on this side, I'm on that side. Have the conversation in the grey. We had a young lady who joined us from Stepping Stones, an organisation in Northern Ireland that gets work placements together for those people who are autistic. It just felt natural and we should do it. See the amount of positive conversations that came because our employees who were parents of children who were autistic, or nieces or nephews were autistic, where they then came and said, I can't believe we've given this opportunity to them. Let's start talking about this. So get the conversation going in the grey. In terms of driving cultural change, there's 4 things that we now realise are all pieces of the jigsaw that come together. If one is missing, it's going to fall over. Leadership commitment. Unless you have got leadership commitment, no change will really happen. Program and initiatives. Absolutely, you have to have some program and initiatives happening because as in organisations, you have to have us all pointing in one direction. We may have different values. We may personally not believe in all of it, and that's okay too. In work, if this is what we're doing, this is the direction we're now pointing in. We need to mitigate bias systematically. What does that mean? Remember the HR policies and processes from earlier? Unless you have the systems in place that take away that bias, your programs and initiatives are going to fall on their face. And inclusive culture, as an organisation, you need to talk about what does that really mean for us. Because it's only when we're all in agreement what that is that you'll make the real change. So, our organisations in the construction world are no different than any other organisation out there. It's difficult to create an inclusive and diverse culture and organisation, and that's okay. Think about the years and years of old practices and beliefs. You can't change that overnight. You can't flick a switch. But more and more people are now saying, I want to be part of this. Organisations are now stepping up, and our younger generations are now demanding it of us. So if I think about the recommendations that I would make based on what we've been through, I would say start getting the facts in your organisation, understand where your baseline is, and tell everybody that works there, this is who we are. Then start to think about what good people practices that you're going to put in place. That means you're going to attract the right people, you're going to develop the right people, and you're going to keep those people in the organisation. Because guess what? See if you create that inclusive organisation and you get those people in, diversity. That's what you get. It's obvious. I'm going to finish up by just showing you one more video, and it's again 2 minutes long, Elaine. Okay. And just before it plays, what I would say to you is it doesn't matter where you are both personally or where your organisation is along that path. Inclusion starts with I.